In this video, we are going to take a look at metadata. That is to say, data about data in the Resource Catalogue. So I'm at the home page here of the Resource Catalogue, and you can see a whole load of different collection cards, and we've explored these in another video. But when I select one of these collection cards, what we're actually looking at here is metadata. So we have the title of the data collection, the range, date range over which that collection applies to, and a comprehensive description of what that collection covers, along with some keywords about the collection itself. And this, if you like, is an introduction to metadata that is available within the catalogue, but there is in fact far more metadata than what you see just in this initial view of the collection. When I open the collection, you'll see there's a couple of different information buttons available within this left-hand panel. And when we select those information buttons, what we're actually able to access is all of the detailed metadata that we've got within the catalogue for that particular collection. So I've selected the information button at the top level here, and we'll see the title and that description, those keywords are repeated. But there's also extensive metadata that is further available about the record. So for example, we have various references to some of the stack extensions that are used. So stack stands for Spatio-Temporal Asset Catalog, and stack is actually the protocol that we're using, or the standard that we're using for storing all of the catalogue data. You'll see there's other things in here. So there's, for example, the spatial extent. So this tells you the range over geographic range over which the data covers, and then various other information. So in fact, within this particular record, we also have metadata about how that data can be rendered. So these are the various parameters in terms of different types of render and different variables that are displayed. You'll also see as we scroll down here, we've got more details about the content of this data. So for example, what the fields are within the data cube. This tells us that we've got analyzed sea surface temperature, standard deviation, sea ice fraction. All of these are essentially different variables that we can pull out. And in this particular record, we've also even got metadata records on scientific citations. So those are the academic references to this particular data set. If I scroll back up to the top again, you will see that in addition to the metadata tab, there are a number of other records within the collection level. So if I scroll across here, we've got assets, providers, additional resources, document QA, and product validation. So taking a look at these in turn, so assets essentially relates to, or the term assets refers to files that are associated with this record. So at the collection level, we've got a file that is the actual thumbnail that we looked at on that homepage. That's that nice little graphic. And when we have a look at some of the individual items, the individual asset records, you'll see the actual data is available through the asset links. You'll also see we have providers. So this tells us, and these include hyperlinks, so we can link out to these, but these tell us who has provided the information along with the different roles, so who's produced it, who's hosting it, and so forth. We also have a tab for additional resources. So these additional resources are actually links through to other references that are pertinent to this particular record, and these actually include things like the item the link to the JSON that actually describes this metadata. So if you're a developer and you actually want to get to the machine readable version of this data collection, if you select the self option, you'll see this actually gives you the actual JSON that describes all of the metadata that we're looking at in this user interface. There are some other things in here as well, such as the license and then the individual items that are within the collection. In some cases, we've also got, not on this particular collection, but we can have a look elsewhere, we've got further quality information about the data set, which is the document QA and the product validation, and we'll have a look at those shortly. But all of this, as I say, is metadata about the collection. When we get to the individual items within the collection, so each of these is, if you like, a data set within this collection. So for sea surface temperature, each of these is actually a different date of the measured data set. You will see there's also an information button here, and this metadata some of it is a repeat of what's available at the collection level, but in some cases it provides you more information about this particular record itself. That's probably slightly better illustrated maybe if we swap over, if we change our collection and perhaps have a look at some observation data from the Sentinel-2 ARD. So when I open this collection, we've looked at some of this data in another video. I'm going to zoom to this particular scene and visualize this on the map. You'll see that we've got the data now displayed on the map. And if I want to know more about this particular record, when I select the information button here, you'll see the metadata here includes things like which actual platform captured that, what the orbit was, and also useful stuff like what the cloud cover is. And things like that are useful in terms of us being able to filter the particular data that in that collection to things that we're interested in. You'll also see for this type of data, when we're looking at the individual scenes or individual items, you'll see that the assets that tab within our metadata panel has got essentially links to all of the files that are associated with this particular scene. So for example, there's a cloud optimized geotiff that covers the cloud cover, so that's essentially a mask. There's a cloud probability TIFF. There's the actual data itself, which is called cloud optimized geotiff. In this sense, we're talking about cloud as in cloud computing, not cloud as in the meteorological version. So cloud optimized geotiff. And for each of these files, there's also further metadata about, for example, what bands are in that particular file. So if you want to go and then use that, say in another external application, maybe QGIS or some such, this information will be quite useful to you. You'll also see within here, we've got other data sets. So there's things like, topographic shadow, which is another asset against that record. I think that gives you a reasonable overview of the metadata available. So just to recap, there's two types. There's metadata about the overall collection, which you can access from the information button on the top, at this top card. And then there's metadata about the individual scenes that you view, which you access from this information button on the individual card.